Alright, so the motor, or the front of the motor, is fully undressed now. So there was a plate here that just had these 4 bolts, 2 on each side, holding it in. So you just take them off and then you get access to the cam seals. And then right down the very bottom there, if you can see, is the crank. And there are 2 keyways that can be removed. So you take them out and then the crank or the front main seal is around there into the water, the oil pump. So as you can see, my engine's quite dirty. So I'm going to go through and degrease it all and clean it all off, and then remove those seals from the cams and the front main, as well as those keyways, so I can get the seal on and off, and then reinstall the seals and put it all back together with the new timing belt and new cam gears. So yeah, I'll just get into that now and hopefully I'll be able to show you a bit more along the way. Alright, so I got both cam seals out. They're a bit of a pain in the ass. They're rock solid, like these are ridiculously stiff. And unfortunately I kind of scored this a little bit, but it looks like that line is the edge of the seal, so I haven't damaged the sealing surface. I'll just give it a light touch up with some emery tape. But yeah, they were really stiff, and I could probably exhibit a little bit more patience and experience trying to take them out. But anyway, I just used an assortment of picks and screwdrivers and a seal puller. This thing's enormous for these sort of seals with this sort of clearance, so if you can avoid them, do it. But these were just so hard I couldn't move them without it. So anyway, I'll get those keyways off down at the bottom there and get that crank seal out. Alright, upon closer inspection it looks like I have actually damaged the surface that goes across the seal, so good job me, you idiot. There's pretty much nothing I can do about that. So I hope to God this cam seal is amazing and can seal up a Grand Canyon. But yeah, lesson learned, don't be so ham-fisted removing cam gears or cam seals. Alright, so upon closer inspection of the seal, it's actually bigger than the keyways, so I'm an idiot, I didn't need to take them out. This one was too hard to get at anyway, so just gonna have to pick this out and just slide it back over the top of everything. Alright, so this is probably the worst way to do it, but it seems to be working. You just stuff a screwdriver in and break your thumb as you pry it out. Just that easy. Alright, so this one isn't quite as rock solid as the other ones. There's a little bit of give to it, but not too much. So that's all 3 of those out, and now it's time to finish cleaning everything, install that little bugger again, and then put all the new ones in. So the new ones all came courtesy of my good friend Anastasia, who was kind enough to surprise me with all of this. And as you can see, brand new seal kit. They all came from Golby's Parts up in Toowoomba. Great guys, have never led me astray. So got timing belt, tensioner, and some new cam gears as well. So we'll throw these in, get that timing belt on and timed, and then get the new fancy cam gears in a shot so you guys can see them. But they are really, really nice. Much nicer than the old rusty ones. Now I don't know if everyone's will be like this when they get them from Golby's Parts, but they these screws are completely loose, so you can move the cam timing. So you see how it's at 0, you can shift it like that. So that was how it came, was completely loose. So make sure you tighten them up, install them, maybe put some Loctite on them or something. I don't know, I presume these guys use great parts because, you know, they've got their name on it. So if they don't have quality products with their name on them, what do they have? So looks awesome, much better than the rusty old pieces of junk I had, so we'll get those on soon. Alright, so it's important that whenever you get new parts, you check them against the old parts. So Golby's is nice enough to have this little printout that has all the information on the new part. So for this one, see, it's got the sizes, so it's 40.5 times 52.5 times 6.5. So they're the dimensions of the seal. Now if we look at the old seal, I don't know if this camera is going to pick it up, but if we look just here, there's some words and they say 40.5, which is the first dimension on that one, and then we rotate the seal around a little bit more and we get two more measurements just there, and they are 52.5 and 6.5. I really don't know if you can see them, but you have to take my word for it. That's what those things say. And yeah, so then you can just sort of lay it up against it and see that it is a perfect match. So that seal's good. So that's the cam seals accounted for. They're all perfect. And then got the crank seal. Now this crank seal, I believe, was the factory one, only because it's got these three little dots. So they space this crank seal away from the oil pump a little bit, because there's an oil drain back gallery at the very bottom, and it's quite small, and the seal can actually cover it if it's not installed correctly. So these little dot things actually space it away from that. Now this one does not have those, so I have to be careful about how deep I install it. There was a post on an American Supra forums page talking about it. I didn't probably read it enough as I should have. The guy went into some pretty crazy detail. But anyway, so I don't have any numbers on this one that match this one, so you just sort of hold it over it and it looks pretty much the same, so whatever. I'll just trust Golby's. When you go to install them, apparently you need to put a little bit of smear of sealant on the outside edge as you install them, and a little smear of oil on the inside edge just to help it go on. So I'll be doing that next, and then installing them into the car. Alright, so sometimes seals can be a little tricky to push in by hand, so this is the old seal, and I just tried to grab a socket with a nice open inside that will fit quite well. So this one looks like it does the trick. It's just about perfect. So I don't know if it's actually even going to fit over the snout of the crank, but I figure it'd be worth a shot. So this is like a 54mm socket for a 100 series Land Cruiser front axle hub thing, so just in case. And then I've just got some ultra black from some company, and yeah, just a little bit of a smear of that around the outside ought to do the trick, and we're good to go. Not so sure if you can see this, but there's that thin smear of sealant and then a little bit of oil in there, and hopefully this goes on nice and easily, just straight on like that. Alright, so the new seal is in, and it pretty much just pressed in with my fingers. Once I got it sort of most of the way there, I used that socket, and it did fit over the snout, and I just gave it a light tap to just get it seated. So I didn't do the best job, you know, the story of my life. The top went in a little further than the bottom, but it's like less than a millimeter, and I'd say that that's probably a good thing. Well, not entirely, but it's a good thing for the that drain, because it'll be at the bottom of the oil pump where this thing is, and because it didn't have those little stoppers, if the bottom's out a little further, it's a safer bet that that hole will be uncovered. So because it's less than a millimeter, I'm pretty comfortable with it. Hopefully it won't chew the seal out early because of the weird angle, but I think that it'll be all right. Like it is the smallest amount. Yeah, so I'm happy with it, and I'm going to leave it as it is. And it's pretty much the same process with the cam seals. So I got another socket I can use to tap it in with. This one's a 33mm. I don't remember what I used this one for, but anyway, actually it might have been a tow bar for a Jeep. Actually, the first Jeep Wagoneer ever imported and converted to right-hand drive in Australia. It's like a 1970 something, I don't remember. But anyway, we needed this gigantic socket to tighten and undo the tow ball on it. But anyway, it just happens to fit perfectly on this. If I can put it down there with camera vision, there we go. Yeah, that marvelous. So we'll just, if we need to, we can tap it in a little further. I'll get rid of this adapter, and it'll be good to go. So same deal, smear of this, dab of that, and we're good to go. All right, so this one's in. Doesn't look it, but it is nice and flush, and the socket didn't actually fit over the top of the cam, so I couldn't use that. And then, you know, the radiator hose is in the way because I'm too lazy to drain it, so I ended up using just quite a large punch, and I just gently tapped it, making sure that part of the punch was touching that cam cap so that it would stay, you know, even, and just sort of tapped it on. And now you can see the damage that I caused goes underneath the seal, but thankfully these seals have like two sealing surfaces kind of, so with any luck I've only damaged it for the outer seal, not the inner seal, and because it's brand new, the inner seal will hold most of the oil at bay, but who knows, I've probably screwed. Either way, it's in, so that's all that matters.